So, what we're going to do is we're going to try and tighten up your palm muting skills a little bit. I'm going to try and show you some fundamentals of palm muting, and then I'm going to show you some patterns that I'd like you to work on too. To make things nice and straightforward, what I'm going to be using is just the E5 power chord, the open E power chord. And I'm just going to sit right in that spot, and I'm going to try and show you some different things to think about. So obviously the first thing to do is to talk about what what palm muting is and how it works. You're using the karate chop part of your hand right where the string comes over the saddle or the bridge, okay, depending on whether or not you're using an acoustic or an electric. So you're coming across here. What you're going to do is you're going to try and set this part of your hand right where that string is coming over, and what you're primarily focusing on is the 6th and the 5th strings with that hand. So you don't really have to lay against everybody. You will in a second here, but the first thing is just to try and get comfortable with laying against that 6th string. The premise of palm muting is you're trying to deaden the string from vibrating fully. If I pluck the 6th string, it sounds like that, it rings out. If I set my palm down right where that string comes over the bridge there, notice it stops it from being able to vibrate fully. If I move too far forward, then I get nothing. I just get kind of a deadened sound. So the goal is to find that sweet spot on your guitar where you're getting the palm mute, but you're not killing the string. Now, when I palm mute, I don't press real hard, because if I press really hard, it winds up changing the pitch of the string. So the goal is to find that nice, relaxed point where you're touching the string and you're getting the sound that you want from your palm mute. So for instance, if I make this E power chord, I could still just palm mute the 6th string, but I could also palm mute the top couple strings if I wanted to. So the goal is to be able to move back and forth between palm mutes and non-palm mutes, strums if you will. That's really the key. And so what I usually do with my students is I'll have them practice little exercises where they'll take the chord and they'll pick a number. So let's say you pick a number between 1 and 8 and you choose 8. So what you're going to do is palm mute 7 times, and then on the 8th one you're going to strum, but then you got to start right back over again, because the goal is to be able to lift the palm up to stop the release the muting, but then set it right back down to begin muting again. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're lifting that palm. So let me do that nice and slow for you and show you how that works. So if I was going like this, I'll count nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, take this hand out of the equation so you're not worried about your chords or anything like that. The main thing with learning how to play guitar is whenever you're trying to work on a particular technique or visualization or exercise or whatever it might be, don't make things harder by trying to combine all of these elements so you just get confused, and whatever it is that you're really trying to practice winds up not as good as it potentially could be. So again, yes, I can add all this stuff in, but the truth is all I really want to do is I want to focus on just how to palm mute, and then increase that speed and increase the tightness, and that's what I want to talk about. So I've got this now. I'm doing 7 plus 1, 7 palm mutes and then a strum. Okay, so the goal is to get comfortable in my wrist to be able to do that over and over and over again for long periods of time. So what I do is I start off nice and slow, I build it until I really understand it, until I'm feeling it, and then I can start increasing the speed. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to increase the speed like after 2 minutes of practicing. You might, but you might not. You might not increase the speed for a day or 2 days or 3 days or a week. It just depends. The killer for guitar players when they're learning how to play is that they're too impatient. And so they're always trying to do things really fast so they can move on to the next thing. You have to understand the fundamentals. When you learn fundamentals, these things never go away. You use them in all songs. So for instance, with palm muting, needless to say, we don't do a lot of palm muting in jazz, but you do a lot of palm muting in rock. You do a lot of palm muting in blues. You certainly do a lot of palm muting in metal. And you even use palm muting in modern country music. So the goal is to make sure that you really understand it and then build it to whatever technical aspect you want it at. So if I wanted to go like this, let's say I've got it built here, and I've got my metronome going, so it's clicking and I'm playing along with it. I'm going to use my metronome so I can show you how this works. So right now it's set at 126. So I'd be thinking 2 per click, right? Eighth notes. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, and you might want to do that a little slower. Let's say that's too fast. So the goal is to find the spot on the metronome that you're capable at playing at. Dun, 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 dun. And be able to do that over and over and over at that speed. And once you've got that, then go ahead and start trying to speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. But remember, these things can take time, that not one day. You're not going to go from 100 beats a minute to 200 beats a minute in one day and still have it sound as good as it should. So the goal is always trying to tighten that up. So as I keep going, again, I'm increasing that speed, okay? The second thing I can do is I can increase the complexity. So let's say instead of doing just 8, I'm going to do 5 and 8. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then that just keeps increasing. Sorry. You know, you're just building it, or whatever it might wind up being if you've got other patterns. You know, you can build all of these different kinds of patterns, and the goal is you're really just getting used to being able to palm mute quickly, and you're able to release that palm mute when you want strumming. Okay? The next step after that would be to be able to start moving chords. So let's say I was moving from E to F. So I'm moving from my open power chord to my first fret power chord, E to F. Or whatever. You know, whatever it might be, but I'm increasing it. So I've got a basic strum, a basic palm mute that I'm using, then I'm increasing that technical aspect of it, then I'm starting to add in stuff with my left hand to increase that technical aspect, which is really what, you know, hard rock and metal are about, are those elements. You know, when we think about things like blues, you know, we're not so much thinking on a technical level, although there absolutely is technique in there, a lot of it. But it's not like they're concerned about how fast they can go and things like that. They're concerned about other things. You know, with hard rock and metal, a lot of times that's what you're dealing with is speed. So the point being is you know, you can combine all of these elements. There's artists out there that do all of those things, whether they're blues or rock or anything. They can play everything. So the goal for you is just to figure out what you need most. If you're going to focus on palm muting, try and make it as tight and fast and strong as you possibly can so you can use it within song forms. But you have to start off slow and then build it. That's the goal. Okay, so that's the first thing, is just trying to get used to being able to downpick, making up patterns that are 8 beats long, and then choosing things out of there to build. Okay, the next one I'm going to do is going to be a video about alternate picking and being able to do palm muting with that. So enjoy this video. See ya.